Nick Fuentes snaps in this epic rant and he goes full MAGA on the idiot SHILLS, and he breaks down exactly why this clip is blowing up across everywhere. And we're going to look at how Nick Fuentes pushes back on the idiot SHILLS in a way that actually feels raw, unfiltered, and completely different from what the mainstream is used to. So you hear Nick Fuentes challenging the narratives that's being pushed by the 88 shows out there, calling out the hypocrisy that's been ignored for years, especially when they talked about Nick Fuentes being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, as well as the civil war on the right. So here is Nick Fuentes, where he is the most direct in this epic rant. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button if you enjoy what Nick Fuentes is sharing here. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Mark Levin at the Republican Jewish Coalition, he went out and said, we're going to write down everybody's name and we're going to see who associates with who. He said, and if you don't disavow Tucker, if you don't disavow Marjorie Greene, if you platform these people, we will not support you in 2026. We will come after you. Dasha Nekrasova at Red Scare, she got dropped from her talent agency for having me on her show. It seems like they're already doing it. So this is, make no mistake about it, this is the subject of the conflict. This is what the Civil War is all about. And there is something, by the way, that goes beyond Israeli policy. When you consider that this is the action and reaction, this is the revolution and counter-revolution, it's very clear that the sides in the conflict are not, strictly speaking, the Israeli government and some Americans. It goes beyond that. Is Rahm Emanuel part of the Israeli government? No. And yet he was there at the North American Jewish Federation saying that Israel is the greatest country in the world and America's number 2. Is Randy Fine part of the Israeli government? No. Is Mark Levin? No. Barry Weiss, Larry Ellison, Ronald Lauder? No, none of these people are part of the Israeli government. Not all of them are neocons. Not all of them are Republicans. Not all of them even support Netanyahu. What they all have in common is they are American Jews that are principally concerned, first and foremost, with the interest and the well-being and the welfare of their own community, of global Jewry and their standing in the world among all the nations, and that happens to include Israel as one of their major bases of operations, let's say. That's really the divide. That's really what's happening here.
And it's crazy because, you know, these people are really being looked up to. Some of them are politicians, influencers, working in media as well. And now we're starting to get an insight, a big insight on the kind of propaganda that they're putting out there. And right now, in these kind of times, with this kind of, you know, civil war that's happening right now, they're definitely trying to work on defending themselves instead of just, you know, sticking with the substance. Okay. So the fact of the matter is that whenever, you know, they've been, you know, held to account, or someone's accusing them of this or that and everything, they all of a sudden call them an anti-Semite. I mean, isn't that the very thing that the left does to people who speak out against them or, you know, disagree with the things that they're saying and stuff? I mean, it's pretty similar to me. I mean, I don't know. This could be a particular human quality, to say the least, or it could be the fact that these individuals are no different than those who are on the left. Okay. And that's the pretty unfortunate part right there, because they get really defensive and curl out, you know, calling names to people and stuff. All of a sudden, new info and everything to those who actually expose them for what they're really doing. Okay. Because people are starting to rise up against their narrative. And this is the very thing that's being talked about here, because, well, he and Tucker Carlson have faced a lot of backlash recently over just talking. All right. But the media is also being used to go ahead and put out this, particular campaign against Fuentes as well as Tucker Carlson and others and stuff.
You have a coalition of people inside the United States of America, right and left, that for different reasons are saying, we're giving Israel too much money. We're going to war for Israel. Our system is being influenced by money through the Adelsons, through AIPAC, through Larry Ellison. Americans are getting together and saying, this is not good for Americans. Americans of all stripes on the right and the left, Christians and Muslims, Christians and atheists, whites and non-whites, men and women, Republicans and Democrats, young people and a lot of older people, even some actually Jews, even some Jews like Dave Smith, among other well-known ones. Americans are coming together and they're saying, this is not good for America. This is not good for Americans. This doesn't benefit our country. And then on the other side, at these meetings that are held, at these conferences, organizations, at the RJC, at the World Jewish Congress, at North American Jewish Federation, these powerful American Jewish people are getting together and saying, what is best for us? What is best for the Jews? What is best for Israel? What is best for all of us? And to put it simply, that's not America first. And a lot of Jewish people like to say, for example, I've seen Brett Weinstein. Brett Weinstein says that as America first, we want to exclude Jews. I would say simply, Jews are excluding themselves. When a Jewish person says, I see myself as a Jew first, not an American, when a Jewish person goes out to an organization of Jewish people and speaks as we the Jews and not we the Americans, am I excluding them from America first, or are they excluding themselves? Are they seeing themselves out of the door? When I say we, I'm talking about we the Americans. When I say what is best for America, I'm talking about what is best for all Americans. Because I identify with America. I identify as part of that tribe. America is my tribe. Americans are my tribe. Citizens of America are the people that I see myself as having something in common with. Whereas at these conferences and organizations, that is not the case.
Nick Fuentes just made an excellent point where we're not excluding them, they're excluding themselves, okay? And that's a lot to go ahead and spin off from there. And Nick Fuentes just reminded me that, it shows who their allegiance is to right now, okay? And alongside with that, if you think about it, that happens with anybody anywhere, okay? And the individuals he listed in this video, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, others, even Rahm Emanuel and stuff, let's be honest, they definitely excluded themselves, okay? Or possibly putting on a guise of, stating that, we're MAGA and we are America first and da-da-da-da. But Nick Fuentes is actually showing that, you don't really seem to show it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying these things about me and others and stuff. So, yeah, definitely well said by Nick Fuentes here. But other than that, if you enjoy what's being said in this video, in this clip, go ahead, smash the like button, share the video far wide. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Shapiro and Barry Weiss and Mark Levin and the rest of them, they go out there and say, we the Jews. What is best for us as the Jews? The actions we will have to take. What must be done as the Jews for Israel, for the Jewish community in the United States, for the global Jewish community? And that's not patriotic. That's not American, actually. And by the way, they can't then be mad when other groups do the same thing. How can we expect immigrants, Muslims, blacks, whites, how can we expect any group to put America ahead of their tribe if you won't do the same. How is that reasonable? How is it reasonable to say that when every other group comes to America, you have to leave your racial, tribal, religious, cultural identity at the doorstep, but not the Jews? The Jews can be we the Jews, and we love Israel first and foremost and America second, but then they're going to call me a white supremacist or a white nationalist. They're going to call Zohran Mamdani an Islamist in favor of Sharia law. They're going to call all the non-whites third worldists and the rest of it. How does that work? I saw Ezra Klein brought on some Jewish leftist from New York to talk about me, and they both said the same thing. They said this identity politics is so poisonous. Really? So Ezra Klein will have on Yoram Hazony, and we'll have on this Jewish leftist, and they're going to talk about what is best for pro-Israel inside the right wing and anti-Semitism. And then they're going to say it's wrong when anybody else engages in identity politics, particularly white people. That doesn't work. That's not American. That's not America first, obviously. They're not America first. They are Israel first. And everybody knows that. And anyway, so this has been the civil war for the past 2 weeks. And of course, the pro-Israel side is clearly losing. Everywhere you look, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, they are getting ratioed. They are not popular. They don't bring the views. They don't bring the likes. All their comments are negative. And the opposite is also true of the Israel critical side. Tucker Carlson has the biggest show in the country. Candace Owens, I think, is right there next to him. Then you have people like myself. I'm bigger than ever before. Despite being censored and suppressed and canceled and radioactive, the Americans are speaking out loudly and clearly. But the pro-Israel side has a little trick up their sleeve, and this is very intentional, and I told you about this last year. They are hiding behind Donald Trump. To put it very simply, that's the only card they have to play.
I don't think they're trying to hide behind the president. I think they're trying to go ahead and control him, have him to do their bidding. Now, will he actually carry it out? No, because the Trump we all know, doesn't let anyone control him, you know? And let's be real, though. If he were, they're definitely trying to use him to go ahead and put up and to protect them and everything. But at the same time, Trump protects everybody, whether it be Jews, Muslim, Christian, so on and so forth, even non-believers and stuff. But the fact of the matter is that they're trying to go ahead and control the narrative. They've done it with YouTube. They've done it with Google. They've done it with social media. And he's definitely right in this case where they're trying to go ahead and put out there a different campaign to censor people. He just listed several people who have this whole mentality and stuff where they're being ratioed, and people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are, far more successful and everything. But the fact is that now we're seeing that they're losing their grip. Okay. You even seen it with like other influencers out there. Matter of fact, there was a video of BB where he had different influencers from like TikTok and stuff coming to Israel, I think, to go ahead and have them to reach out to the younger generations, because guess what? Millennials and Gen Z and younger, they don't support the land that Ben Shapiro loves and stuff, or anything, put out there by it. They've lost interest in it. I'm not saying they're also supporting Palestinians and stuff, even though that may be the case for a number of them. But at the same time, either way, they're not being believing what they're stating and stuff, like what boomers have. Even Gen Xers are not supporting them either. So yeah, there's also that. They're definitely losing the control of the narrative, and not even their money can actually bring it back.
As they're browbeating Marjorie Greene and Candace and Tucker and me and the rest of them, the only card that they have to play Because they've tried to play every other card. They've tried to say, you're not really conservative or you're not right wing or whatever. The only card they have left to play is to literally cling to Donald Trump's leg and hide behind him in the MAGA movement. And so when the first disavowal came at the Republican Jewish coalition, Randy Fine, this disgusting, evil human being, the congressman from Florida, he goes up to give his speech and he has a group of his followers stand in front of the stage holding up signs that say, Tucker is not MAGA. That was the angle. They're using Trump, drafting behind him, using him as a Trojan horse to deflect all criticism. They have bribed Trump. They have infiltrated Trump. Miriam Adelson gave him $100 million. These people are all over his administration. Look at J.D. Vance's chief of staff. The guy's a Tikva fellow, Jacob Reeses. He's like a proud, liberal Jewish guy who eventually came over. So the Jewish people are hiding behind Trump, and they're saying, well, if anybody criticizes us, then you're really criticizing Trump. And if you're criticizing Trump, then you're not MAGA. That's their move. That's why Shapiro has glommed onto Trump. That's why Mark Levin has. They were both never Trumpers. In 2016, Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro were never Trumpers. That's back when Trump was America First. But over 10 years, now that they have slowly infiltrated, and now that Trump is bombing Iran and giving Israel aid, and now that he's best buddies with Netanyahu, they meet 4 times this year. Now they're inside and they're saying anybody that's against us is not MAGA. Anybody that's against us, including Tucker, including Marjorie Greene, well, they're out of step with the spirit of the movement. And that was the last card they had to play. Everybody was already against them. Everybody already said, we're sick of the gaslighting, the lying. We're sick of Judeo-Christian kissing the wall. We're sick of the foreign aid bombing your enemies for you. We're sick of the Orwellian censorship surrounding the issue. The only card they had left, and it's a game they're playing, is to tell everybody, well, if you're not with Levin and Randy Fine and war with Iran, then you're not MAGA. And yesterday, Donald Trump took away that last card. Finally, the president was asked directly, what do you think about Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes? And Trump gave his answer. He said, I like Tucker. He said, and that's Tucker's job, is to talk to people. You can't tell Tucker he can't interview people. He said, let people decide. Get the word out and let people make up their minds for themselves. And with that, the game is over. Because that's all you have to do. As long as people like myself and Tucker and Marjorie and all of them, as long as people like us can simply get the word out without censorship, without cancel culture, without blacklisting, without suppression, without getting murdered, as long as we are free to get the word out, to speak our minds freely, and as long as the audience is free to make up their own minds, as long as they are free to receive the information on social media, as long as they are free to make a decision as Americans in their conscience, then it's game over for the pro-Israel crowd.
Nick Fuentes has definitely just went off. And like you said, the president has definitely cemented that, Tucker Carlson simply just his job. He was just doing his job. Okay. His job is to talk to people. You can't tell him who he should talk to, who he shouldn't talk to. Okay. Same thing with Nick Fuentes right here. Okay. If Tucker Carlson wanted to talk to Nick Fuentes, let him do that. Okay, it's just that simple. All right. And Nick Fuentes has definitely put it out there that, you know what, y'all can go ahead and keep playing this game, but you're not going to stop me. Okay. And even if he's gone from this earth and everything, then guess what? His message is still going to linger. Okay. And they're going to have a hard time controlling that because there's going to be more people who supports Nick Fuentes to rise up as well as stand against them and speak out even louder. Okay. So let me know your thoughts about this in this Nick Fuentes and his epic rant against the idiot SHILLS. And I'll see you all in the next one.